Every time someone throws thorns in your path, the universe rearranges itself to make them walk barefoot across the same pain they meant for you. That's the law of balance, not superstition, not coincidence, pure consequence. Life always keeps the score, even when no one's keeping track. The wheel turns quietly, precisely, and those who plot your downfall eventually end up buried under the weight of their own intentions. Chosen ones, you don't chase revenge, you embody it. Your evolution is the retribution. Those who mocked your growth are now haunted by it. The same voices that whispered behind your back now tremble when they say your name. They can't understand how every obstacle they planted became the very soil that grew your strength. That's cosmic irony, when their attempts to dim your light only made you burn brighter. The universe isn't punishing them for hating you, it's simply teaching them what happens when they try to block alignment that isn't theirs to touch. Remember this, your rise was never accidental. You were forged in resistance, shaped by betrayal, and polished by pressure. Your presence now carries a frequency that unsettles those who still operate in deceit. Their discomfort is the echo of your ascension. You are the balance being restored. You are the proof that everything finds its level, eventually. If you feel that truth vibrating through you, hit like, subscribe, and stay here, because your next chapter isn't just coming, it's already watching your enemies trip over their own shadows trying to follow you. Before we go any further, take a breath and look at where you are right now. You've stepped into a version of yourself that most people never reach. The one that no longer begs to be understood. The one that commands energy instead of chasing it. This video isn't background noise. It's a signal, a frequency that only the awakened can feel. If you're here, it's not by accident. So do 3 things before we dive in. Hit that like button to strengthen this energy, subscribe so more chosen ones like you find their power, and drop 99 in the comments to lock in your transformation. Every action you take here amplifies your presence in this realm. You've mastered your villain role. Now it's time to understand what that really means. Let's get started. Number 1. Stop ignoring the shift that's trying to wake you up. There comes a moment when something inside you snaps, but not in the way people think. It's not rage, it's not bitterness, it's precision. You start to see through the fog that once blinded you. You realize how many people only loved you for what you could give, not for who you were when you stopped giving. You see how they mistook your loyalty for weakness, your patience for permission, your kindness for currency. You poured yourself into connections that were hollow, hoping that one day they'd echo back the same depth you gave. But they never did. You weren't too much. They were simply too small to handle someone who felt that deeply. You were never meant to live diluted. You don't come in half doses. You're either all in or completely gone. And once you finally understood that, something within you solidified. Calm, cold, and razor sharp. That coldness they accuse you of now. It isn't heartlessness, it's control. It's the calm of someone who's done explaining, done begging, done bleeding for people who were only ever tourists in their life. People who came for the view but left when the skies turned grey. You stopped chasing, you stopped over-explaining, you simply closed the door, not with drama, not with rage, just quiet certainty. You locked it and threw away the key. And that's when everything shifted. That's when you became unpredictable. That's when you became untouchable. Because people can feel when you stop needing their validation. It rattles them. It breaks the script they've always relied on. The one where they get to take and you keep forgiving. They don't know how to approach you now. You used to be the soft place everyone could land, the emotional healer, the peacekeeper. But peacekeepers get tired too. And when peacekeepers decide to protect their own peace instead of maintaining everyone else's chaos, they become dangerous. You've become that danger, not because you intend harm, but because your silence now has weight, your absence now has consequence. You see through the games before they even begin. The flattery doesn't work, the guilt trips bounce right off, and the manipulation that once worked like a charm now dies the second it touches your awareness. You've outgrown the need to play nice with people who weaponize your empathy. And that evolution, it's terrifying to them. Because once you see someone's true motives, you can never unsee them. You've entered a new phase where you no longer confuse connection with access or loyalty with slavery. Your energy has value now. Your time has boundaries. Your presence is earned, not owed. And the ones who used to feed off your softness now find themselves starving, wondering why their usual tactics don't work anymore. They'll call you cold, heartless, detached. But you know better. You're just clear. Clarity is power. And once you've tasted it, you never go back to confusion. This is your awakening. Not the kind that glows softly, but the kind that cuts clean. You've become the quiet storm people fear because it doesn't announce itself, it just changes everything. Number 2. Stop playing the villain in stories you didn't write. Chosen ones, the moment you stop letting others narrate your story is the moment you start living it. You were never meant to play the villain in someone else's fiction, especially one written by people who can't stand your strength. They twist your truth because it exposes their weakness. They cast you as the problem because your independence breaks their illusion of control. But here's the thing. Their version of you only exists in rooms you no longer walk into. They can't comprehend your silence, so they call it arrogance. They can't manipulate your boundaries, so they call it cruelty. They can't drain your energy anymore, so they label it change. Let them. Every rumor, every exaggeration, every whispered lie, all of it is proof that you've become powerful enough to shake their comfort. The narrative they're spinning around you isn't your downfall, it's their confession. It shows the world exactly who they are without you having to say a single word. You've reached a stage where defending yourself is unnecessary. You don't explain, you don't justify, you just elevate. Your peace speaks louder than their projections. Every accusation they throw now bounces back with twice the force, not because you're retaliating, but because truth always exposes fabrication. You've mastered what they fear most, detachment. When you no longer need to be understood, you become unstoppable. Let them write whatever stories they need to soothe their guilt. Meanwhile, you'll be out here writing reality, building, evolving, winning. Because the real villain in their tale isn't you. It's their regret for underestimating you. And the longer they keep talking, the clearer it becomes. You were never the threat. You were the mirror. Number 3. Protect your energy before it becomes their playground. Chosen ones, listen closely. Your energy is sacred territory, not an open park for others to wander through. For too long, you've let people treat your peace like public property. They came in uninvited, left their chaos behind, and walked away cleaner while you stood there carrying the dirt. That ends now. Protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's survival. When you stop being accessible to everyone, the wrong people will call you distant, cold, arrogant. But that's just the sound of their control slipping away. You've got to start guarding your spirit the way a king guards his crown. Not because it's fragile, but because it's priceless. The same people who once drained you will now call you different. They're right. You are different. You no longer hand out free access passes to your peace. You no longer let emotional parasites feed on your kindness and call it connection. When you finally close the gate, you'll see how quickly the noise dies. Silence isn't loneliness, it's clarity. Protecting your energy means mastering the art of selective exposure. Not everyone deserves to hear your plans, touch your peace, or even be in your presence. When people can't manipulate you anymore, they'll try to label you. Let them. Their confusion is proof that your boundaries are working. You've evolved from being their playground to becoming a fortress, calm, guarded, and impenetrable. Let them talk from the outside while you build from within. Because once your energy is protected, your focus sharpens, your confidence grows, and your aura becomes untouchable. That's when the tables turn. The same ones who used to drain you will now have to face the emptiness they tried to hide by using you. Protect your energy, chosen one. It's your most powerful weapon. Number 4. Learn to see through emotional games before they start. Chosen ones, the moment you stopped reacting, you became unreadable, and that's what terrifies them. You've learned to see through emotional games before they even start. You can sense manipulation before the words are even spoken. That fake kindness. You feel the static behind it. That sudden apology after silence. You already know it's bait. They used to control you with confusion, guilt, sympathy, half-truths wrapped in, "I didn't mean it." But you've evolved past that. You read intentions like energy signatures. One look, one tone, one hesitation, and you already know what game they're playing. They think they're subtle, but you've become fluent in human deceit. You've seen how they test your empathy, how they feign vulnerability just to reset your boundaries, how they act lost just so you'll guide them again. You've outgrown that cycle. You no longer rescue people from the chaos they create for themselves. You watch in silence, calm and detached, as they try to pull the same tricks that once worked. Your silence unnerves them more than any confrontation ever could, because silence means awareness, and awareness means power. You don't argue, you don't defend, you don't explain, you just see. And when they realize you see them, truly see them, the manipulation, the projection, the mask, that's when they panic. Because manipulation only works on those who crave approval, and you've stopped craving anything from anyone. You're no longer the player in their game. You've left the board entirely. And here's the twist. The moment you became immune to their tactics, their control collapsed. Their own games backfire now, exposing their motives to everyone watching. That's the real power of a chosen one. Not aggression, but perception. You don't fight evil, you expose it by existing above it. Number 5. Say no, like your peace depends on it. Chosen ones say no, like your peace depends on it. This is not a slogan, it's a survival protocol. For years, you folded yourself into other people's schedules, mood swings, and emergencies until your edges blurred and your voice became background noise. Those days are over. Saying no is your frontline defense. It draws a clear perimeter around your life and signals to the world that your energy is not free for grazing. When you refuse politely but firmly, you reroute expectations. People who assumed you were endlessly available will be forced to reckon with a new reality. You have standards. That refusal is not cruelty, it's calibration. It teaches others what access to you costs: authenticity, effort, reciprocity. Most won't bother to pay that price. Good. Your circle shrinks to fit what matters. Practice this as a muscle. Start small. Decline the favors that drain you. Skip the events that demand emotional labor you haven't agreed to. End conversations that feel like negotiations for your time. Each no compounds into a fortress. You'll notice the difference. The same people who relied on your automatic yes will scramble to adapt or fall away. Let them. Their panic is proof the status quo depended on you carrying more than your share. Saying no also protects your capacity for the few who deserve you. By conserving your attention, you preserve room for authentic connection, real growth, and opportunities aligned with your rise. This is how chosen ones move: selective, sovereign, unapologetic. So speak clearly, no dithering, no long explanations, no bargaining for pity. A crisp "I can't" or "not for me" is enough. Your boundaries will be the map others follow or the warning they ignore at their own cost. Protect your peace like a prize, because it is. Number 6. Stop confusing self-sacrifice with love. Chosen ones, let's get one thing straight. Love was never meant to be self-destruction dressed as devotion. Somewhere along the way, you were conditioned to believe that giving until it hurts was noble, that breaking yourself to keep others whole made you good. But here's the truth they don't want you to see. Constantly saving people who refuse to save themselves isn't love. It's slow suicide. You kept calling it loyalty, but it was really self-abandonment disguised as care. You've spent years bleeding for people who never learned how to stop cutting you. You mistook your empathy for a calling to fix everyone. You thought if you just loved harder, they'd finally change. But love doesn't demand your exhaustion. It doesn't require you to shrink just so others can feel tall. Real love expands both people. It doesn't drain one to feed the other. And when you finally stop overextending, when you decide that your peace is worth more than their comfort, that's when they'll call you selfish. That's when they'll label you cold. But that's just projection. They can't benefit from your boundaries, so they call them cruelty. Don't fall for it. What they call selfish is simply you refusing to die for people who wouldn't even lose sleep for you. Your heart was never the problem. It was your lack of protection around it. Now you've built walls not to keep love out, but to keep parasites from getting in. You no longer mistake chaos for connection or pain for proof of passion. That clarity terrifies people who fed off your selflessness. They can't manipulate someone who's finally learned that love without reciprocity is just control in disguise. Chosen one, you didn't stop loving. You just stopped sacrificing yourself for people who confuse taking with affection. Number 7. Understand that fear around you means respect has finally arrived. When people start acting different around you, quieter, cautious, almost nervous, don't mistake that energy for distance. That's not fear of you. That's respect arriving late but loud. Chosen one, the truth is your strength has shifted the atmosphere. You no longer walk in as the helper who absorbs everyone's chaos. You walk in as the storm that clears it. People can feel it before you even speak. Your silence holds weight now. Your presence changes the tone of a room, and your eyes tell truths they can't hide from. You've reached a level of awareness that exposes pretenders without a single word. That's what unsettles them. It's not that you've become harsh. It's that you've become accurate. You no longer tolerate half effort, half loyalty, half respect. The ones who once toyed with your patience are now tiptoeing, afraid to trigger the version of you that no longer bends. That's not intimidation, that's accountability wearing your aura. See, when you stop letting people disrespect you and still keep your peace intact, you become untouchable. You've mastered the energy that demands truth without ever raising your voice. They used to take your kindness for permission. Now they realize it was a privilege. Every attempt to test you is met with calm boundaries and quiet consequences. That calm scares them more than any confrontation ever could, because it means you no longer need to prove your power. You are the power. So when you notice people getting cautious, let them. That fear isn't rejection. It's the universe announcing that your energy now commands respect. You don't chase validation anymore. It follows you. You've become the standard they measure themselves against, and that realization is what keeps them trembling. Number 8. Rule your energy like a throne, not a battlefield. Chosen ones, the moment you stop defending your energy like it was under attack and started ruling it like it was a throne, everything changed. You used to fight for peace, constantly explaining yourself, justifying your boundaries, and proving your worth to people who had no intention of valuing it. That era is over. You've learned that your energy isn't a playground or a proving ground. It's sacred territory, and not everyone deserves a passport to your presence. You've reached a level where your silence carries more authority than their words. You no longer waste energy trying to win arguments or force understanding. You move with quiet dominance. Because a true ruler doesn't fight for control, they are control. You've stopped reacting and started deciding, and that decision, to protect your energy rather than spend it recklessly, is what makes you unstoppable. People who once thrived on your chaos are starving now. They can't handle that your peace no longer includes them. They'll try to bait you, provoke you, get you to step down from your throne and fight on their level. But you've outgrown the arena. You don't swing back. You withdraw your presence. You don't argue. You observe. You don't explain. You execute. You've mastered the art of ruling your own frequency. Every move you make now is intentional, strategic, and calm. You no longer chase energy, you command it, and that unnerves people who once manipulated you with noise. You've become the stillness that exposes their chaos. Remember this: kings and queens don't wrestle with clowns. They let the circus perform beneath them. Stay on your throne, guard your energy, rule your realm. The battlefield days are over. Now you reign. Number 9. Don't fall for the return of the familiar mask. Sometimes the past comes back wearing a brand new smile, pretending it's changed. But chosen ones don't let the costume fool you. The people who once drained your spirit will always test if they can still reach the old version of you, the one who explained, forgave, and overextended. They'll knock on the same door they once slammed, hoping the upgraded you left it unlocked. But you didn't just change the locks. You built a whole new house they can't find their way into. They'll show up with familiar words, carefully rehearsed, dripping with nostalgia. They'll talk about how things used to be, trying to pull you back into a chapter that you've already outgrown. Don't mistake comfort for connection. Familiarity is their disguise. Repetition is their trap. You've seen this movie before. Same actors, same plot, different excuses. This time, you know how it ends. Their sudden warmth isn't growth, it's strategy. The guilt, the compliments, the "I've changed" speeches, all attempts to disarm your new boundaries. But your silence is stronger now. You don't explain. You don't argue. You just stand still while their act crumbles under its own performance. They'll call you distant. Let them. Distance is what keeps your peace alive. Remember this: when they return, they're not coming for you. They're coming for access to the energy that used to serve them. You're not that source anymore. You've evolved beyond being their supply. Your new frequency doesn't resonate with their old patterns, and that disconnection, that's your protection. The familiar mask might look softer, wiser, even apologetic, but you've learned people don't change when they're comfortable. They change when they lose access. Keep it that way. Number 10. Make accountability the price of admission. Chosen ones, let's get one thing clear. Access to you is no longer free. Your time, your energy, your presence, these are currencies now, and the only form of payment accepted is accountability. No more empty apologies, no more recycled excuses, no more people who act confused every time you hold them to the same standards they demand from others. You've evolved past giving out unlimited chances to those who think remorse is a performance instead of a responsibility. You've seen it all before, the ones who say, "I'll change," but never do, the ones who play victim when you finally draw the line, the ones who twist the truth just enough to make you second-guess your own clarity. But that version of you who tolerated inconsistency just to keep the peace? Gone. You've made peace your boundary now, not your compromise. The new rule is simple. If they can't own what they've done, they don't get to stay. Period. Accountability isn't punishment. It's proof of character. Anyone who flinches when you ask for honesty was never planning to be honest to begin with. You're not demanding perfection. You're demanding maturity. You're not chasing explanations. You're watching actions. When you stopped rescuing people from the consequences of their behavior, the balance shifted. Suddenly, those who once drained you are the ones gasping for air, realizing your forgiveness was their only safety net. Now, your energy is the admission ticket, and the cost is truth. Let them pay it, or let them walk. The days of carrying people through their own lessons are over. You are not their teacher anymore. You are their test. And those who fail to be accountable will learn the hardest lesson of all, losing access to someone who never needed them to begin with. Number 11. Stop loving people who only love your light when it serves them. Chosen ones, there comes a time when you finally see it. They never loved you. They loved your light. They loved the warmth you brought, the way your presence made their dull world feel alive again. But the moment your glow wasn't serving them, the moment your shine wasn't convenient, they turned away and called you too much. They wanted the benefit of your energy without the responsibility of matching it. They mistook your giving nature for endless supply. You've got to stop loving people who only show up when it's sunny in your soul. The ones who cheer when your light fills their darkness, but disappear when it's your turn to need theirs. These are not your people, they're your lessons. You are not a lantern for lost wanderers who refuse to carry their own fire. You are the storm that teaches them to build shelter, the dawn that reminds them they were supposed to rise too. When you start protecting that light, they'll call you selfish. When you stop healing everyone who bleeds on you, they'll call you heartless. But that's because your boundaries reveal their intentions. They don't want mutual love, they want maintenance. They don't want your truth, they want your glow. So dim your compassion for the undeserving. Pour that same warmth into yourself. The real ones, the rare ones, will see your fire and bring wood, not buckets of water. That's how you'll know the difference. The chosen ones don't chase validation anymore. They attract alignment. You are no longer the light others take from. You're the flame they can't touch. When you stop lighting everyone else's path and start walking your own, the whole world adjusts to your glow. Number 12. Turn every betrayal into the blueprint for your freedom. Every betrayal you've endured wasn't a setback. It was an instruction manual written in pain, showing you exactly where your power was hiding. Chosen ones, every time someone lied, used, or underestimated you, the universe was documenting a lesson only you were meant to learn. Betrayal doesn't break you. It refines your focus. It strips away illusions, removes the noise, and makes your vision sharper than ever. The knife they put in your back became the tool you used to cut yourself free. You've stopped asking why they did it and started realizing why you needed it. You needed to see who couldn't go where you're headed. You needed proof of what disloyalty looks like so you'd never confuse it with love again. Those betrayals built a version of you that no longer flinches at loss. You learned that losing fake people is never a loss at all. It's clearance for your elevation. The same ones who betrayed you thought they ended your story, but all they did was hand you the pen. You rewrote the ending in ink made of resilience. That's what they don't understand. You're not fueled by revenge. You're fueled by rebirth. You don't fight to get even. You evolve so far beyond them that they can't even reach the frequency you operate on now. Their betrayal built the walls that protect your peace today. It taught you to move in silence, to trust actions over words, and to recognize loyalty not by promises, but by consistency. You are no longer bitter about what happened, you're grateful, because it gave you the blueprint for your freedom. Every time they tried to cage you, they only proved how unstoppable you truly are. And that's the full circle, chosen one. The moment everything that tried to destroy you becomes the proof that nothing can. You've mastered the villain role not by turning dark, but by turning aware. You've stopped chasing validation and started attracting respect. This is your era of power, clarity, and untouchable peace. The ones who doubted you will soon have to watch your rise in silence. If this message hit your spirit, hit like, subscribe, drop 99 in the comments to lock in your energy, and share this with another chosen one who's ready to awaken their power.